Hey everybody, welcome to a special taping of The Realist TV. It's your favorite host, Bach here, love.
And I'm your girl T, the social media ghost. And I'm Mika, the badass unicorn, and today we're at the Lyric Performing Arts Center in Baltimore, Maryland.
Yep, where our guest is hosting his highest level tour.
That's right, and get ready to meet the global thought leader himself, 19 Keys.
Yep, so let's get ready to start the show. Right now.
Right.
And this needs to be stated too. When you got...
If you have a friend, why you still there?
Yeah.
Somebody gotta keep it real. Hi, Keys. Welcome to the Ribbon.
Blessings. Good to be here.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Welcome,
Thank you so
welcome.
much for giving us this opportunity.
Absolutely. No, thank y'all for taking it.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it.
Let's do it.
How did Jabril Muhammad become 19 Keys? And what does 19 Keys stand for?
I don't know if there's ever a separation between Jabril Muhammad and 19 Keys. I'm still the same person, but Jabril Muhammad is just the author of 19 Keys. And, you know, we all have, if you walk into a room with 1,000 mirrors and you see 1,000 different versions of yourself, those are each you based on your emotions and your experiences and your thoughts. But I believe that there was a side of me. You know, your parents tell you to pick a career, be a lawyer, be a doctor, be an engineer, be whatever. I wanted to become 19 Keys, right? In the sense that I wanted to become a vehicle for change and enlightenment and impact. And I remember telling Mechi, who is my manager and also shoots all my shows for me, that I was going to create this entity called 19 Keys, and it was going to become impactful across the world, and everybody was going to know it, and it was going to be a vehicle for enlightenment. Now, at the time, you know, you just listening, you feel me? Like, all right.
Gotta manifest.
But, you know, I understood, you know, number one, the laws of the universe, how to call things into existence. Yes. I understand the metaphysical ability to create entities that become real living things, right? And so I always say I'm not 19 Keys, I represent 19 Keys, right? In that sense that you can be a key, you can be a key, but the way I do it is I do it with that energy of 19, which is a representation of all truth. Right? All energy exists between the 1 and the 9. Those are the only numbers that exist, right? And I can teach from the low level, from that 1 to the high level of the 9, or that can represent masculine and feminine energy with the imbalance or polarity. And at the same time, Master Father Muhammad, the one who taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who taught Elijah, Minister Farrakhan, he had a quote in the 1930s. He said that there are 17 million original people and there's 2 million Indians. And he said that represents the 19 million rusty locked minds. Right? And those rusty locked minds are a representation of people who have been oppressed, people who are living in ignorance and in darkness, and the knowledge to be able to unlock those minds, knowledge of self, self-awareness, truth, right? A mathematical truth to where it sparks the mind and bring you back into consciousness.
It's powerful.
All right. So you're known for your higher level conversations. So why a tour and why now?
Because we get to meet the people. Right. And when we was doing an event in London with my brothers at Earn Your Leisure, as I was sitting on the stage, and it said Carnegie Hall, one of the most prestigious venues in London, 5,000 plus people, and the way everything flowed, and I started to think about it. I think it was like on a Saturday night, and we was in there teaching. My brother Walsh Trapper was here. He came with amazing energy, you know, master investor. It was a lot of different people. And I was just thinking about this show, like this could have easily been a concert instead that people went to tonight, right? And that concert that they would have spent money on, maybe got them some drinks. They may have had a good experience and some memories, but it wasn't an investment on their time, right? You didn't learn anything. You didn't get any resources, right? It didn't impact your energy in a way where you can be more productive once you leave. So I started to think about the new culture that we're building and what we're representing. New transformational experiences, right? It don't matter how many people show up, but just the fact that somebody's showing up, right? Showing up for something that's educational and enlightening to where you go there and you get to enhance your consciousness, right? You can learn about things from the laws of the universe to social sciences, to society, to technology, to brand building and marketing and wealth building, financial literacy, whatever it may be. You're going to go there with something valuable when you leave. Yeah. Right? And that's an investment on your time. We've only learned how to spend time. So we're creating events that are assets for you to invest your time into. So now when you go home, you don't just have memories, you have new knowledge.
And And that's a good point. That's a great point. Let me ask you this. Can everybody be conscious? Can everybody be 19 keys?
Nobody can be 19 keys.
Yeah, all right, so let me rephrase it. Let me rephrase it. Can people meet the level of consciousness that you get to? Is it possible for everybody?
No, everybody is different. We're all customizable different, right? You know, each person can reach their highest level, right? It's like somebody may want to articulate and speak like me. Perhaps they can get to a level, some people can get way greater, right? Some people can reach here, but you can only be as great as you. When you try to reach somebody else's level, you go lose.
Exactly.
Right? You have to find out who you are and then enhance those parts of yourself to its highest extent.
So let me ask you, what are the benefits of gold water? Let's touch into that. I got it out because I was doing some research and I can see that gold is actually beneficial for your body. When I heard gold water, I was like, what, gold in water? Because you think of a solid and this is a liquid. So let's go into the benefits of gold water.
Well, yeah, so when you think about Alexandria and in Egypt, they would drink gold, right? They would break it down in a powder form, right? And this powder form, it looks like a white powder, and they would ingest it because gold is the only metal that doesn't rust, right? So they looked at it as the elixir of immortality, right? And then at the same time, even if you look at health products, right? And a lot of beauty health products, they use colloidal gold, right? Colloidal gold at a small micro level help with micro tears within the skin, because gold has healing properties. It electrifies. All our bodies is 70% water, right? So when you increase the electrical conductivity within our bodies, it increases that cellular regeneration. It increases that anti-inflammation within the body. It increases the mental faculties that we have as well. So we're born with 0.002% of gold within our bodies, right? We're literally made of cosmic stardust. So enhancing the minerals that we have in our body has particular effects on us, right? This is why we intake minerals in the first place. Gold is just a mineral. And gold is not the only mineral that we have, right? But it's broken down in the process of electrolysis to where they're breaking the gold down to such a small level that is dispersed evenly in the water, right? And so that's what makes it a colloid. And so we have nootropics that enhance the mind and the brain, because most of what they call mental health is brain health issues, right? But we don't talk about brain health. We just tell people to go see a therapist, right? There's a famous doctor by the name Dr. Amos, and he does brain scans, right? So instead of just talking to you, he actually looks at your brain and see what area may be overactive, right? So therefore, you can go through the customized brain treatment that actually works for you. So I thought about that when it comes to our people, because if I'm giving you high-level information, you need high-level retention.
Your lymphatic system has to be working.
Absolutely.
Let's get high level.
You know, we put the mushrooms in there with the lion's mane mushroom. We got the cordyceps. Some of them are good for working out. Some of them are good for mood, memory, focus, right? These are stimulants that can enhance the mind and body.
For sure, for sure.
So do you think Black men practicing emotional intelligence could quell some of the gun violence?
Yes, I mean, well, that's one aspect of it. Like I said, if you take a victim that is dealing with brain issues, right, and they have an overactive amygdala, right, to where it is responsible for violence, right, and if you can take them through a treatment process of treating their brain, right, then that can decrease. So when we talking about emotional intelligence, that's one way of understanding your emotions, but also when we talk about why those emotions are in the first place, we talk about trauma. Right? It's psychotherapy and trauma treatment in our communities is not common, right? And so instead of looking at this person as a violent individual that's prone to violence, well, let's look at the adverse childhood experiences that this person has went through that makes them highly prone to violence, right? And now instead of sentencing this person, you're treating this person, right? So absolutely, you know, we don't have a high level of emotional intelligence, right, from Black men and women, to be honest, you know, because we're all triggered by these traumas and we're bonding and communicating right through the filter of our traumas. And so Black men have the worst statistics out of anybody in America when it comes to cancer, when it comes to mental illness, when it comes to gun violence, prison, when it comes to heart diseases and so many things. But nobody looks at the Black man with empathy. Nobody really cares.
Nobody.
You got all of these movements that they make so progressive as if America is changing and getting better, but those people who have the worst statistics in America, nothing is changing here. So a lot of these particular movements, you know, to me, are false and it's fake, right? Because if you really care about people, then you help those who have it worse.
Exactly. So let's ask the obvious question. Why do you think they're not? Do you think it's no value in Black people to the rest of America?
Well, I think people love the culture of Black people, but they don't love Black people, right? Everybody wants to be us,
Wanna
but they
listen
want
to
to
the
switch
music.
places
Yeah.
with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know what it's like to be electrical beings, right? We hold a lot of energy, right? And we do magnificent things, right?
100%.
With our mind, we are the most inventive people on the planet Earth, right? In the last 100 years, we are responsible for more inventions than any other civilization, right? So just looking at that brilliance, right, it's amazing. But the narrative that's spread about who we are, right, is the narrative of hiding the specialty of who we are.
Yeah.
America never wanted nobody to know how special we were in this country. They've been able to benefit of having us here, and they keep us in lower caste system fighting about racial constructs, right, and stuck in survival mode and stuck in fear so that we don't enhance our vision and think from a global perspective. It's 45 million plus, of us out here, and the spending power that we have is great, that 1.7 trillion, but our ignorance makes us great consumers for everybody else. So if you stop eating pork, then guess what? That particular meat industry loses,
Yes.
right? If you stop eating fast food, and most of these fast food companies are in zip codes that are targeted, that are predominantly Black and brown neighborhoods, then they lose money.
Let's talk
Right?
about
Where
it. The
they
liquor
go,
stores
where they go
too.
spread it. Same thing with the liquor companies and the liquor stores. So if you start educating consumer bases, they're no longer ignorant, and you're not making money off them anymore. Same thing if you're teaching them real estate and financial literacy, right? So they understand the habits, right? They take a consensus every year, study the habits, and based on that, they can create marketing around that. They can create products for that. They can brand to you, create aspirational things from a luxury side. We buy everybody else's everything, right? And so without us being producers and we're stuck being consumers, our ignorance is the product.
Look, and I don't see how we can't control the production. Honestly, if we inventing it,
Absolutely. Well, we
you know,
can't.
and with the highest level being, like I said, you're not gonna look at an NFL game. You're not gonna look at an NBA game. At least I'm not. Without us on it.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
fact.
Come on. That's
Because
a slow game.
biologically, we are some of the greatest specimens on the planet Earth, right? Everybody has taken cue from us. Even when, every time I always talk about Hannibal Barca, because he was one of the fathers of military strategy, right? And he took over his father's army around 23 years old. And he was the only one to defeat the Roman Empire, right? And that element of surprise was something that comes from him, his thinking, right? When we think of like a melanated man, probably look just like yourself,
Dark
right?
skin,
Running a whole army. He got African elephants going over the Alps and destroying armies, and he was brilliant in his genius. That changes the way you think about yourself. But if you started from slavery and you believe in all of the stories that they tell about that, because I don't even believe 90% of the stories that I hear about slavery.
Say it again.
Most of it is just feeding us program of trauma, right? To think that that was our base and our structure of what we come from. No, we come from brilliance. There was more societies who taught the Europeans how to wipe their own ass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You understand? We
Mathematics.
taught them science, mathematics. When you go and you study what was going on, in ancient Kemet, right? Which the literal translation mean the land of blacks. When you study what was happening in, Sudan, or even in South Africa and many different places. I got the Olmec head right here. You're going to see dark melanated people with high levels of intelligence, right? Building, right? It's just that we didn't have these higher levels of, brain power when it comes to deceit and technology, right? And so us being a very welcoming people, we wasn't trying to conquer everybody. We were building, right? But if you look at the tools today, it's for death and destruction,
100%.
right? One of the smartest men, that we know in their world, Einstein, he helped create the atomic bomb based on his calculations and his mathematics. So when you get that kind of brilliance and you use it to weaponize and it becomes destructive towards society, you already know what we are, right? We are the most powerful energy source on the planet Earth. Nothing moves without us, right? But it's to their benefit to keep you ignorant of who you are. And that's why knowledge of self is the greatest way into it to heal us. If I can just make you aware of who you are, then that's enough. I don't need to do anything else because you automatically wake up and you activate.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
You know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
Yeah, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, anything, you need to tell an adult, someone you know and trust. That can be hard, but speaking up about a problem is what helping a friend is all about.
Peace, family. I'm 19 Keys. You watching Realish TV, and somebody got to keep it real.
So I want to move into how we were just talking about men and preferably Black men. I want to move into women. How do you feel about women in submission, and what does that look like with you?
That's a great question. I think a woman will submit to a man that has a good plan, right? I think she naturally falls into, following along with a great plan. Like if a man that is being led by God, it is easy for her to submit to that because she is submitting to that which he is being submitted to, right? Because a woman can only submit to a man who submits, right? If I submit to God, she's submitting to me. So therefore, she knows how to keep me on track, right? Because she said, wait a minute, you said this is your plan. You're not following it.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can't follow you. But as long as you following the plan, I'm there. I'm submissive. I'm falling in line. I'm in alignment with your mission and your vision, right? And so, today we have all of these so-called gender wars. And I always say the gender wars is false because they don't make sense. If you still attracted to a woman, there's no gender war. If you're still attracted to a man, there's no gender war. Exactly. How can you be attracted to your enemy?
Exactly.
That makes no sense.
But why do you think that exists, the whole gender war with men and women, when we're all going for the same thing and we all have the same goals? Like, why do you think that exists, especially with people of color, preferably Black
Well, I
people?
don't know if we all have the same goals. I think people that are, we all brown-skinned people here, right? And we may be of the same race, but not same ethnicity.
Correct.
Right? So, when you have the same ethnicity as a person, you share the same values, the same religion, same geographical location, right? Same ideologies towards the world. And so sometimes we get fooled, right? That some of us don't have the same values. Some people have more progressive values. Some people have more conservative values, right? And we don't even talk about that honestly amongst each other, right? Because people ride with the Democratic Party. Democratic Party is super progressive. It's not conservative. Black people are more conservative, like a Republican Party, right? But they're labeled as the racist party. So a lot of things that they do, Black people subconsciously like, wait a minute, I'm kind of in line with that, right? But they don't say it openly because you're supposed to be on this side. So Black people have been thrown into these boxes and used as tools for other people's politics. We've been used for political agendas. Black men are wearing purses today. Who does that benefit? LVMH. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Black men getting their nails done
escalation.
at a
All
higher
black.
rate. Who does
All
that
black.
benefit? The Asian nail companies,
Correct.
right? Our new habits are not benefiting us in a way where we're becoming more productive and gaining more power, right?
100%.
We're actually losing power with our new habits, right? Black women have, they weaponize you all's intelligence, right? And the fact that you all are becoming growing business owners and things of that nature, as if that's a representation of the Black man squandering his time, resources, and opportunities daily. When you look up what got us to this point is what you have to look up to, right? It's not just, it's 2003, Black men ain't hold on, what was happening in the 2000s? What was happening in the 90s?
Exactly. What
So
caused it?
we go skip the gangsterism era. We go skip the blood in the Crip era. We go skip the, crack era. We go skip, right, all of the different things that we've been going through every single decade, right, that got us up to this point where you're children, right, of the oppression, right? And now what you're seeing is the side effects of that, right? These are not people who are evil and whatsoever. These are people trying to cope with living in a world where we've had 500 years of pressure, right?
100%.
So for us to abandon each other, because Black women getting educated now, as if you need to leave your man and go find a white man when his people is directly responsible for why your man is not in position.
Exactly.
So for me, that makes no sense. You can't go to the son of your enemy because of what he's done to your father. You know what I'm saying? He took him off his throne and now saying, well, you should come to me. It's like, no, I ain't
Exactly.
come
I
to
don't
you.
agree
We
with
gonna
that.
restore everything rightfully as it's supposed to be.
So let me ask you this. I want to go back to the politics.
Yeah.
Who's getting your high level vote? Are we
Nobody.
going Republican? I said this on I said this on the show. I would rather vote for Kanye, and I'm gonna say that pride because I'm not picking the less of two evils.
Nah, we not picking no evil. How about that?
Exactly.
We like that.
I think I'm voting for you.
I ain't running. I ain't running.
You can't get my high level vote.
The word vote comes from votum, which means to vow or to make a wish, right? And so when you're making a vow or wish to these deities, you're giving over a part of yourself that they're going to save you.
That's
when the
deep.
reality of it is we have to save ourselves, right? So there's nothing that Joe Biden, there's nothing that Donald Trump, there's nothing that Kanye West or anybody else can do for me other than what I can do for myself.
Okay.
Right? I will put 0% stock and dependency on a candidate of presidency whatsoever. If, we talk about local submissions and things of that nature and the ability to affect local politics, absolutely. But we've been tricked 100 million times. When does the tricks end?
100%.
Right? And so what they do is, they get people from our culture who look like us, who we think are on our side. They give them a bag, and then they use that bag to pressure and influence us into voting for people who ain't for us. Kamala Harris has done 0% of no work whatsoever.
No.
I haven't heard one single good thing that she's done since she's been in office.
Anything.
Right? Yet she was celebrated because we like symbols without substance. She was a symbol
That's deep.
of progress, but she wasn't any progress.
Where's this coming from? Where's the thought process of we look familiar, so I'm a vote? Where did that stem from? It's got to be a high level question because I wondered myself sitting back, where are we getting all of these thought processes from? I'm not going to give it all. I'm not going to put it all on the white man. I'm not going to put it all on the black man, the Indian, who is giving us this thought process?
Well, when you talk about PR, you got to go back to the father of PR because all politicians run PR schemes. You know what I'm saying? They have a slogan, they have campaigns, right? In order to affect the mind and desires of the people, right? I'll talk about Errol Burnett a lot lately because he was the so-called father of modern PR. And PR comes from propaganda, right? So they just thought that this was a much nicer way in order to say it. So, originally, we can look at his schemes of how he got women to smoke cigarettes, right? He created a scheme to tell women to go out there, pull cigarettes out of your stocking, and they're going to create this slogan that's going to say, because at first cigarettes were connected to only a man's thing, and the company wanted to get the other 50% of the consumers who were women, but women didn't have the habit because they said that's a man's thing. So he said, okay, let's come up with this scheme and let's say that these are going to be torchlights of freedom. So this represents your rebellion against man. So they took a bunch of pictures after having all of these top models and debutante women of that time smoking cigarettes. And when that spread across the media and the newspaper, which he had set it up through a PR stunt, women consumerism started to grow when it comes to cigarettes. Now that became their connection and their idea. They felt like they was being more free, that they was being rebellious. But the whole time, it was just psychological manipulation. The same thing is happening today, right? That same science is being applied, right? So, when we think this is freedom, we think this is liberation, we think this is progress, these are just campaigns and marketing schemes that psychologists have been perfecting over time, right, to control the mind of the people. The crowd mind doesn't really think far into the future. It wants to be satisfied emotionally, right? And so when you dig into the desires of people, right, you're tagging onto their emotional needs, right? But when you talk about the logic, right, and you're talking about the future, it ain't about survival. Oh, we need to get this. They pump us with fear so we can't see broader, right? But when you're thinking from a higher level, you're thinking in the future and say, who's really for it? Let me think of this as a logical thing. Like, is Kamala Harris really going to matter? No. Did Joe Biden really go do something? No, but it said lesser of two evils, right? So now emotionally, you're thinking of what's going to be worse. Now you're thinking from a fear-based standpoint, right? So you're not thinking from a logical standpoint, tactically or strategically on what's our best option. So therefore, you can go for something that's against your best interest, right? And so we've been doing that, ever since we started voting.
So I want to just kind of wrap things up and say, what do you want to convey with your tour? Like, what high-level conversations do you want to convey to the public or to anyone that hasn't heard 19 Keys or just want to know anything about 19 Keys? Like, what do you want to convey?
That your current level is your lowest level, and that there are always higher levels. There's higher levels of awareness, consciousness, potential that we can all obtain. We can transform and develop ourselves in many different ways, and I'm a product of doing that myself. And so the moment that we get new knowledge, we have new opportunities and new possibilities and ways to advance ourselves. But we need strategies in order to win a war of life.
Sure.
One of the biggest things that I talk about at each show is about the self-wars, the thought wars that we go through. I can give you all the knowledge in the world, but if you in front of yourself because of your traumas and things that you haven't processed and healed, then you can never use that information properly to ever go build, right? And so in order to be able to advance outside in the outer reality, you first had to advance on the inside. And so when we talk about the traumas that we go through, we can heal the traumas, then we get to that place. That's true wealth. If somebody is able to say, you know what, y'all want money or y'all want to be healed. Some people may take money because they don't know that they need to be healed, right? But in the reality, if you can give people reparations by repairing a people, and we have been broken. So if you look at our fathers, our mothers, our great-grandfathers, great-grandmothers, go look at those relationships. Look at those things that's epigenetically within our bodies, those traumas that exist, right? If we can get over that, now we're those people that we know we are. And this is not just for Black people, it's for people of all different colors, genders, races, whatever it is. If you believe in the self-advancement of yourself and your family, come and get these tools. We talking finances, we talking wealth, we talk technology, we talk the future. We learn history, we learn science, social sciences, politics, psychology, philosophy, physics. Wherever you want to go, we here. It's high-level conversations.
High-level conversations.
I love that.
19 Keys, we thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank
indeed.
you.
We got to have you on set. Where can
Yeah.
the people find you?
Man, you can find me at 19keys.com. You can click on 19keys.com and see all of the things that we got going on. Or you can find me on YouTube, High Level Conversations, or on IG 19keys_ or 19_keys.
Because what you have, like 45 million, 50 million,
Somewhere around
60
there.
million?
On the way to $1 billion.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's right. Thank you so
Wait till
much,
today.
19 Keys.
It
Thank
was
you.
a pleasure having
Likewise,
you on, man.
thank
Till
you.
next time, brother.
Thank you.
Somebody got to keep it real.
Somebody.